And we are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vicinda. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP, which is a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope here at Plus One is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games, and amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. We do that in a lot of different ways, but once a month I sit down with a special guest to talk about what's happening in the industry and business of indie RPGs. This month we've got a special guest who I knew I was going to want to have on a few months back when I first caught wind of the project they were working on. Glad we could make it happen on the pretty much exactly 1 month anniversary of the launch of RPG Traders. 1 month ago, you were hitting live on the site. But Hugh, for folks who may not be familiar with you, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and tell us a little bit about RPG Trader?
Yeah, sure. Hey, thanks for having me on. So my name's Hugh. I've been creating tabletop games under the brand 10 Acre Games for a little while, building a lot of sort of settings and adventures and stuff. That kind of thing's my main focus, which has been super fun. After publishing TTRPG stuff for a number of years, we're just thinking like this, we would like a different platform for there's some features that we don't see on other ones, and that's sort of where RPG Trader came from. Really, it was more like we'd like some stuff that would work this way. Why don't we build it? Because my background is as a web developer, so that's where I come from. I've been building websites since I was 12, 13 years old. So that's very much my sort of experience. So I thought I can do this. I have a lot of experience with e-commerce. So yeah, jumped into it and ran with it, and that's how we kicked off.
Love it. I know some people are excited to hear about some of the things we're going to talk about later on in the show, but we just talked about before we went live. We've got Matt from Manadon Studios, creator of Tomb of a Thousand Doors, or lead developer on Tomb of a Thousand Doors, which is up right now for 2 innies. And you just told me right before we went live you were one of the contributors too. So I didn't know that when we sat down to do this, but excited that we've already worked together also too, whether I knew it or not.
Just disconnectedly work together.
Yeah. It's such a great, huge project. I also think it speaks well to the type of collaboration that it looks like it's already starting to be fostered around what RPG Trader is doing. Before we dive into RPG Trader, before we dive into some of this of that, let's just get to know a little bit more about you, who you are, because you're also in a part of the world that you're in the global south, which means that even though you're part of a developed country, lots of times access to things that happen in the northern half of the globe are a little bit hard to get a hold of. That exists in some of the ethos of things. But tell people just a little bit about your background, where you're from,
Sure.
how that shaped a little bit about who you are.
Yeah. So in terms of countries, I'm from a few, I suppose. I'm originally from South Africa. Which is also in the south, just on the other side of the world from where I am now. We lived in New Zealand for a while, and I've been part of the New Zealand RPG community called Kiwi RPG. And then now we're moved to Australia. So we're in Sydney, Australia. That's where we're based at the moment. In terms of time zones, it often makes things tricky with the US. I see someone speaking Afrikaans in the chat. That's great. Thank you. For the record, my Afrikaans is not very good. I'm an English South African, and Afrikaans was not taught well in schools. So, yeah. So that's where I'm from, and it makes things interesting being partly in the south, but also in just different time zones. One thing I always find interesting is when you have like platforms that say, "Oh, we've got our summer sale on." I'm like, "Nah, it's kind of rainy in winter here." Different season. So that kind of thing comes up a bit, especially with the north-south changes. But it's nice to be able to sort of represent this part of the world as well. There's a very active role-playing game community here in Australia and also in New Zealand. It's great to see so much activity happening locally with all that stuff too.
Yeah. How did you originally get into kind of TTRPG design? Like, tell me a little. Like, you started. It usually comes out of playing a game. So what games were you playing that made you think, you know what, I could do this, or I could do this better or different? So I played some TTRPGs as a kid. Played D&D with some guys at school, kind of thing, a little bit. I didn't get into it loads back then. I just sort of played it tangentially, and that was sort of it. And then sometime later, I got into a game called Mouse Ritter, which you mentioned, Tomb of a Thousand Doors. That was written for Mouse Ritter, which coincidentally is by an Australian creator, which was just sort of coincidence. I got into that, and I started playing with my kids.
and we absolutely loved it. We had an absolute blast. My kids were age 6 and 9 at the time. They're a few years older now. Had so much fun with it, and I was like, well, it would be cool to create some adventures for them. And I started just writing stuff to play with my kids at home. And then I created this we were in New Zealand at the time, and I created a setting that's based on a New Zealand farm with New Zealand creatures that mice can run into and stuff. And then my kids were enjoying it, and I was like, well, why don't I make this a thing? And then I started publishing those adventures, and then made a whole setting. It's called Kiwi Acres. You can get it on RPG Trader. And it's and then it just snowballed from there, and I started building more and more, and I just really, really loved writing stuff. I love creative writing. That's always been a passion of mine, like not necessarily related to RPGs. That's always been a passion. So got into writing stuff, and then creating settings and creatures, and it became so much fun, and I just created more and more, and that's sort of just built up from there.
And you mentioned that you've also been creating websites since it sounds like about the time you started playing games.
Yeah.
What kind of drew you to web design? Do you remember some of your earliest website designs?
Oh my word! They're probably best not ever seen again, the early ones. But I was like 13 years old when I started, and I was making websites for my friends' bands. Like I was in Cape Town in South Africa. I was in the local punk scene. I went to a lot of punk shows and that kind of thing, which was just part of my life then. And I had some friends in punk bands and stuff, and I started making websites for them because that was fun. And we hosted stuff on GeoCities, which was where you did all your stuff back then. So that was really where I started. My father was a computer programmer, so I sort of had a lot of computers around, and we had books on writing HTML. So I sort of studied. I would sit at home reading those, which is, looking back, maybe not the coolest thing to have done, but it got me into where I am today. So yeah, that's sort of where it all began for me. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Retrofit in the chat already queued up the next question, which is, tell us more about this RPG trader you mentioned.
For sure.
So I do think this is it truly, like, I mean, like, we're going to talk about the Ennies, we're going to talk about some other stuff, but really for June, July, with not just because you're a guest, I do think RPG Trader launching is potentially some of the biggest news to happen. And I feel like outside of indie creators, a lot of people are currently kind of sleeping on its existence. And so I'm really excited to kind of dig into what it is, how it started, kind of what your vision for it is. But let's start with just the elevator pitch. Tell us a little bit about what is RPG Trader.
RPG Trader is a marketplace for tabletop role-playing games for creators to upload their stuff and sell it with built-in print on demand, which is powered by Lulu, which a lot of people are familiar with and appreciate their quality. Most of the creators on there are indie creators. We're not like exclusively looking for small creators and indie creators and that kind of thing. We're very happy anyone can use the platform, but that's very much where we've seen like the biggest growth, which is that sort of grassroots growth, which is fantastic to see. And yeah, it's a marketplace for tabletop role-playing games. Find them wherever you want. We've got a few sort of key features, I think, that make us stand out from other marketplaces. So there's no generative AI in any of the content you can download or buy on the site. If any is there, we will remove it. We've got a strict AI content policy. We've got a very deep taxonomy system for discovery. You can tag your games by 12 different taxonomies, like category and language, obviously, and then play style and setting and genre and tone and a bunch of things like that. To make it easy to find the game you want. Like if you want to find, I want to find a horror sci-fi solo journaling game that's set on a spaceship or whatever. You can find very specific things like that through the search and that kind of thing, which is something we're really proud of and spent a lot of time getting right. And yeah, that's what we are.
That's the big picture. And you've already done, I feel like you've already done one collaboration for Free RPG Day, if I recall correctly, where you had a bunch of folks kick on things. And there's another one that's about to launch for GM-less games. You have entered into much like indie RPG fulfillment and distribution. You have entered into a thankless space. I guess it is part of that same space also too, where in the world of online platforms, we all have a lot of things we want, and all of them take work to make happen. So it's been really cool to see y'all come into the space. Let's start with just that conversation around AI and that decision-making process, because that's something that a lot of people have talked about. Like when you all launched, there was kind of a question mark, and then now you have kind of a firm resolution to that. Talk through your decision-making process on that.
Yeah. So when we first launched, basically, if you didn't see it at the time, basically what we did was we opened up for what we called public beta, so sellers could sign up and list their products, and then only about I think it was a 3 week sort of gap. I forget the exact times. We then opened up for people to actually buy stuff. So basically, in the public beta, everything functioned except for checkout, and then we opened it up. So by the time you could buy stuff, we already had, I think we had 500 and something products there
Yeah.
at launch or something like that. And now there's, what are the numbers now? I've got them here somewhere. There's currently 3,410 products on the site. So, it's growing pretty quickly in the month. But what we did was our initial sort of AI content policy was to say, you must, which is, I guess it's similar to what Itch and Drive-Thru have on their, Drive-Thru RPG have on theirs, is that you must disclose AI use, but you've also got to say sort of how you use it, if it was in images or text, or there was a few sort of things you could identify. And then AI, the initial thinking was that then AI, any content with AI generated content in it would be deprioritized in search and that kind of thing. The reason we did that at first was because we sort of had the idea that people are going to use AI, they are going to upload it, and detecting that is really difficult. So let's rather make it so buyers actually know what they're getting and they can see, okay, I can filter out that if I want, and it sort of make people more aware of it. And then we had a lot of discussion with people in the community, some really good discussions. We used Blue Sky mostly at the time, or we still are for most of our stuff, with some really good, active, lively discussions on Blue Sky. Some really good feedback on that. And we made a couple changes to it. And then what we eventually decided on is what we have now, which is no AI content at all, which I'm very happy with the fact that we landed there. I think it's a great place to go. It does distinguish us a little bit from other platforms. And it's also easier to implement a policy like that from the start rather than retroactively implement in a year or two. Because then you've got a bunch of stuff that you then have to remove from the platform, which you don't want to have to do. If you have it from the start, you can sort of just go forward with that. So, and I'm very happy with that. I think it's the best way to go, especially for, tabletop role-playing games are about human creativity in terms of creating them and playing them. And sort of celebrating that is way more important than sort of catering to people who want to use generative AI.
No, I know from a creator side that like it's gotten like I said, a lot of attention. It's always interesting how fast the conversations evolve, and again, like the responsiveness and this I think has been really consistent in everything I've seen. When people currently are bringing y'all something, there is dialogue, there is discussion, and then there's fairly swift. Even though some people are like, it's been a couple weeks, I'm like, that is such a short amount of time practically. Like it feels like sometimes things take longer to be practical about them, but everybody I know who's reached out with a question, with a concern, has been really thrilled with the response that they've gotten.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Even if it's like not what they want to hear, right? Like the very human reality of it oftentimes is. And sometimes the answer it sounds like a lot of times are like, oh, we don't know. What do you think about that? Give us your input. Give us your feedback, which is just
and we're very happy to take that feedback from people. So a lot of the time we have been like, well, we're still considering this. What do you think before we sort of make a decision? And getting feedback from like, the people who actually create the stuff that's being sold on the site, we're very happy to take that feedback. Obviously, we need to make decisions as a platform, but taking everyone's feedback in is really important to us.
There's also a thing we should hit really quickly because I don't even know the answer to this, but I also know like it's really easy anytime you see a well or even somewhat well-designed website, which y'all's is well-designed, ours is somewhat well-designed, and say, hey, like who are these people, right? Like who are the people behind this? Who are the people doing this? And sometimes people have this vision of like, oh, if you've got a big, nice website, you must have this huge team of people going. But from what I know, there's only a couple people who are really behind the scenes for RPG Trader. Like who are those folks who are involved? You don't have to dox any of them or anything, but
I'll dox everyone who's involved. I'll give you their addresses and no. So we're a very small team. The core team is actually myself and my wife as the core team behind it. My kids like getting involved as well, but myself and my wife, and that's sort of actually the core team. So we're a very small team. We've got some other people we're working with in terms of a lot of admin stuff, so like accountant, lawyer, legal side, that kind of thing. People we can be working with there. And in terms of engineering, it's mostly built by us. And then there's I've had some assistance as well from people I know, basically. So that's where it comes from. And it's like I said, I've been building websites since I was 13 years old, and let's say that's almost 30 years ago now. So that's I've got a lot of experience doing this. Many of my years building sites was specifically building e-commerce functionality and platforms. So this is something I do have a lot of experience with, like a couple decades of experience with. So getting to build it like this just makes sense for me.
Awesome. Well, with that in mind, what are let's talk about some of the things that you wanted to do with the site, because again, I think there's an easy tendency to gravitate towards how is this different than drive through RPG, and how is this different than Edge, which are going to be realities. Like, people are going to naturally
of course,
things.
yeah.
But you didn't set up RPG Trader to be like, hey, like, screw these guys. You set it up to do a thing that you were interested in doing. Tell us more about what you're trying to achieve and what some of your real hopes and maybe pain points that you were trying to solve were.
Yeah, sure. Like you said, we didn't set up RPG Trader to be like, we're going to take down drive through RPG and itch, because I mean that's just not even vaguely possible. Like, you know what I mean? They've been around
no matter how much I might want it.
Drive through RPG's been around for 20 plus years now, I think.
Yeah.
Itch, I'm not actually sure how long, but there's so much going on there that that's not even on our mind. So
if drive through RPG hasn't managed to take drive through RPG down yet, no one else has a hope. And so
I've seen comments online and stuff, people saying, RPG Trader is going to take down these. I'm like, no, we're not. We're just providing a place for people to upload this stuff. And I think we're providing a good service and a good platform. Some of the things I think that we've done to distinguish from other platforms, which is some of the stuff we wanted to do, is it's a very clean and modern interface. Like, you come into, and we've had a lot of positive feedback agreeing with this, is that the browsing experience and the publishing experience are both very clean, very modern, very easy. There's no sort of UI that trips you up and makes it hard for you to get your stuff from a PDF on your computer to publish and selling on the site. We wanted to make that process as quick as possible. And because I've been selling stuff on other platforms for a number of years now, I sort of know the pain points involved and what we could do to improve that. And so that's one of the big things that sets us aside. The sort of no AI content on the platform also is a big thing, because other platforms do allow that stuff. And I get why they allow it. I totally understand, because changing that policy once you already have a bunch of it on the platform was really difficult. But we could kick off without that, which is great. I see someone mentioned split revenue share is a thing. That's something that I was really excited to offer, is that you can have a product and you can split the revenue amongst any number of creators you want, percentage wise, or for different pricing tiers or whatever. So there's a few features like that I feel distinguish us a little bit that other platforms don't have. But again, we're not here to sort of take down any other platform. We don't have any exclusivity. We're not saying come over to us and ditch all of whoever else you publish on. I'm just saying publish on more places. You get your stuff in front of more people. I've always published my work on itch and drive through, and now on RPG Trader too, of course. And we're not stopping you from publishing other places. We don't want to stop you. We just want to make it easier for you to publish somewhere else with some tools that might be quite helpful for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Love it. So as we kind of look at, and again, I've been showing, going through the site on the side as we've been looking at it. There's also just simple, and this is dumb, as far as why the fact that it excites me so much, but just the fact that when I scroll down, it's oh, there's a moving GIF, as a, somebody's got a pages flip through on their lay flat mock-up of their book. The fact that the site looks good and gives you tools to present your product well, is a huge aspect that I think a lot of people underestimate why and how that matters, along with, again, some of just the top level information that's coming from the taxonomy on the search, the multiple different options for things. And again, the Lulu print on demand things, Lulu formatting is not difficult. I'm saying this, drive through RPG print formatting is a pain in the ass. There's a reason a lot of people don't use it, and it's because it's hard to know. And then you order a print copy, and then it's either right or it's wrong. And then but it's this week-long iteration process sometime to do. Whereas Lulu's process is very simple, and using that webhook, a lot of the other API and other hooks that you've had to allow people to pull content into the site have been absolutely tremendous to look at. And again, we haven't even plus one, we haven't even had time to really dig into how we want to use RPG Trader yet, but we really are excited about the process of digging into it. a little bit more. So, and again,
Yeah.
if folks have questions that they want to ask, like this is a great time to drop them in. We can also continue to pepper them in as we go, but we've only got about 10 more minutes on the interview section before we switch over to talking about some other things. What are some of the elements about RPG Trader that you're proud of that you haven't really gotten a chance to talk about yet to people?
Yeah, so some of the things it's what you said just now about the animated GIF as the thumbnail thing.
Yeah.
That's just something we allowed, which is great. But what you said is that it feels stupid that it's something you're excited about. For me, those things that like, oh, this is a cool UI element that I'm excited about, even though it's really dumb and small. Like those are the key things for me that create that great experience.
Yeah.
So like there's just lots of little things. Like if you go, for example, if you go to a bundle on RPG Trader, if you already own some of the products in the bundle, it'll tell you that you own.
Is there a bundle that's live right now I can look at to show people?
There's a Kiwi RPG Week bundle on there with some stuff in it. If you go to the homepage and scroll down, there's some collab bundles there. Cool. This is active and upcoming collab bundles.
I searched the Kiwi RPG Week.
Yeah.
So maybe I didn't do it. Here we go. We'll go back.
You said that's just the product from it.
Yeah. That's
Kiwi RPG is one word. Sorry.
Oh, there we go. That's what it is.
Yeah. If you go to the homepage, so just click on the logo and go to the homepage.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Scroll up there. So that first one.
The lag's going to kill us.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, I'm looking at the screen, but I don't know how.
Yeah. I'm back on the Kiwi RPG bundle itself, the page itself.
So if you own products in that bundle, there'll be a little bit thing above the pricing box that it says you own these products already. That kind of thing. It's such a small thing, but I think that's really helpful. So then you know when you come to a bundle, oh, I actually own like 5 of the 10 things in this bundle. I don't necessarily need to go and buy it. I can just go download my things or buy those other things individually or whatever. So like little things like that, I think is really good. And there's lots of little UI things like that around the site that I really like and just make that experience just a little bit better in so many different ways. When you're uploading your books for print on demand, you can preview them in a sort of, you can click through the PDF pages. You got all the thumbnails there. You can preview what it's going to look like before you print it. Things like that are really cool. Just so many little things around that I really appreciate. I like, and we're doing more stuff like that all the time. Every time there's something that we think, oh, this could be a bit better, we're doing that and making it that bit better. That's sort of, we're constantly trying to do that.
The team at Stillfleet Studio just mentioned in chat they published their first game on RPG Trader today, and are grateful for the cool platform. And awesome. Then Retrofit asked a question of, if you make your product printable, what if your game has multiple parts, like a zine or handouts? Is it possible? I think the question is it possible to print all of them? Do you need to segment them? But it should be anything Lulu prints, theoretically, can you hook through?
Yeah, so you can, anything that Lulu can print, you can print on there. Pamphlets aren't a thing for print on demand. I imagine the cost to benefit ratio is just too much to print like a single page pamphlet on demand. I would love it if I could find a service that does that, but so far there isn't one. And you can have multiple books in one product. There's a few examples of that. Like if you go to Cairn, for example, on the site, the Warden's Guide or the Player's Guide, you can buy it in different formats, in coil bound or perfect bound or hardcover or whatever. So you can have multiple print-on-demand books in a single product. So you could have your sort of core book and then a sort of expansion zine or something in the same product.
I'm sure Yohai was one of the first people to hop on.
I actually reached out to him before to say, "Hey, we have you on board."
I can only imagine. But the staple bound, the coil bound, and or the digital version. Again, 100% somebody who I know would be absolutely thrilled about that, and so. If you go to, I just saw someone say in the chat, Jellyfish Lions, who's been one of our creators on there since the beginning. The minimum for A5 is 32 pages or so. If you do saddle stitch, which is the stapled zine, I think the minimum is 8 pages, if I'm not mistaken. Just you have to be able to staple 2 pages together. Yeah, there has to actually be papers you can staple. Yeah. But I think you can go down to 8 pages for saddle stitched, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So that's just something. So if you're doing like a smaller zine, like I've got one saddle stitch thing. It's called Tiny Titans. It's a mouse richter adventure. It's 16 pages, and you can get it on as a saddle stitch zine. So I'm going to ask you the most cursed question you can ask anybody at this stage in a
I
project
know,
is
I know.
what next? Let's talk like what is I mean, this is the thing, and it is one of the things that like again, not to draw like comparisons, like we know kind of throttles Itch's ability to improve. Itch is also has a much wider audience because other
Yes, of
people have
course.
hopped on there, but like it's a small team that's constantly bringing up like, oh, like here's the bandwidth. I think for me immediately, like some of the answer is you're using more modern tools than Itch did when it built its site. So there's
Yeah.
some things that are probably going to be automated for y'all that are not automated for Itch in the same exact way. But let's talk about growth for you. Like, what are some of the places you want to see RPG Trader go, and what are some of the things you're hoping in your development pipeline to move closer to?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we're sort of we're not we're like I said, we're a small team. This is just a RPG Trader is something we want to do as much as we can, and it's very much a passion project. And like I said, we're not trying to like take down drive through or itch or whatever. So we're happy to grow slowly. Like that's fine. We're not looking to like have 100,000 creators today. We're happy to sort of just build our way up there, and that's good. We, in terms of the future, we're just going to keep building it, keep adding new features, keep improving things, keep onboarding new creators. I mean, right now we have almost 700 creators on the site, 695 specifically. Um, and 3,400 and something products, which is a lot for having been around for a month.
Yeah.
And we're very happy with that growth, and we're hoping to see just that growth continue. In terms of features, like a big new feature we recently added was crowdfunding fulfillment, so you can fulfill your crowdfunding projects, digital and print on demand through RPG Trader. That's all possible in the dashboard. A big new feature we're busy working on at the moment, and just because it touches so much of the storefront, we've got to do it very carefully, is allowing multi-currency support. So
Because
currently it's all
currently
in.
everything's a like Australian dollar, correct?
No, it's actually USD.
Oh, is it
And
USD currently? Okay.
the reason we did that was because that's where the biggest market is. So just it was a bit more standardized than Australian dollars, because no one really knows what Australian dollars is to their local currency, but a lot of people know what USD is to their currency.
Cool.
So we did that. But we were hard at work on multi-currency storefront, which obviously it touches pretty much everything. So it's got to be designed very, very carefully and stuff. So we're working on that. There's been a lot of people asking for it, and we are working on it. There's actually on our support site, our support forum, we've got a page which is our planned and upcoming features, where we list a few of these things. Some other stuff we're working on is bulk product editing. That's actually almost finished. That'll be ready soon. We wanted to host game jams on the site like you can do on Itch. That's something we're really keen to do. Haven't built anything there yet, but we've sort of got the sketches out for what we want that to look like. Then a bunch of other stuff, curated collections, people to write like public updates about their content, like you can do devlogs on Itch, that kind of thing. A whole lot of other things like that we're sort of working towards in terms of features. But again, we're happy to build and grow at a sort of slow pace. We don't need to grow rapidly.
Yeah.
And we're happy with that.
Yeah.
If anything, growing slower actually is easier to support. If we grow very, very quickly, it actually becomes a lot harder to support as a small team.
I am familiar. No, I think the classic like under promise over deliver like sounds like the strategy y'all are taking, not in the sense of you're not offering a lot, but you're saying here are the things we know we can do, or here's how quickly we know we can do it, giving yourself the buffer that you need and not trying to do everything all at once, which I think it is the big temptation here. And it's hard because I think there's a tendency that's a lot of times what the audience you're working with,
I know.
they have so many wants. So many desires.
It's funny. People like, oh, I wish you had this feature. It's like, yeah, me too. We'll get there. Like, just chill out, man. We've just launched.
Yeah.
Like, and it was tempting when we started to have as many features as we could at launch, which we did. I think we launched with quite a feature-packed platform, which I was very proud of. But like I said, there's still so much more we want to do. And then sort of at deciding like, okay, which features are we going to include at launch? Which are we going to build later? That was a bit of a decision to make with some stuff, like the crowdfunding fulfillment, for example. That wasn't there at launch, but it's something we really wanted. So we did it quite soon after. And things like that. So making those decisions about prioritizing what are we going to do now, what are we going to do later, all of that is important. And sort of, as like I said, I've been in tech my whole life. and sort of making those product decisions. I'm a product manager at the moment in my day job, so I'm comfortable with making those prioritization decisions, and we had to do a lot of that here. So yeah.
I love it. If anybody has any more questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We will go ahead and hit them. But yeah, like I said, it's a really exciting thing. Every single time we see, like a new option step in, we do see like how that drives all the other options to think about things, do things better, improve things. Kickstarter has improved so much.
To see some of that,
yeah. As BackerKit and GameFound have come online, Kickstarter has gotten substantially better. There's this constant information feedback that happens, and really there is a level at which we are all benefiting from that. And I'm always really excited when I see something like this that is able to really kind of say, oh, like, here's the things we're not doing that they're doing over here. Here's the things we are focused on. Oh, yes, we can do that. Like we can take the feedback you're getting easily and do some of that. The one last thing that's come up, I think that I want to kind of go back to the tagging thing, right? And you and I talked about this a little bit before we went live, because people kind of want to know, like, hey, what are different tags supposed to mean? And my internal response is always like, well, they kind of mean how the community uses them, right?
Exactly.
But there are a couple of tags like what is a queer-friendly product? What is a neurodivergent-friendly product? A lot of ones that deal with kind of like marginalized realities, like or people who are on the margins or experience discrimination. Like, how are those tags supposed to be implemented, or how do we know when something is that thing? I don't expect you to have an answer to the broader taxonomical reality, but on RPG Trader, what is your hope for how people are using those tags?
Yeah, so the hope for that kind of thing is like it's basically a way for authors to describe their work in a way that is standardized so people can find it, right? I mean, that's what a taxonomy is. So the things you mentioned, like neurodivergent friendly, queer friendly, all of that, we use that sort of terminology, the hyphen friendly bit, because we've got family friendly, which is a generally well accepted term, and we wanted to sort of use that same model in terms of language. And the idea of that kind of thing is that if something is whatever friendly, it either caters to that audience, or it's designed with that audience in mind, or there's elements of the product that would make that audience feel welcome, that kind of thing. That's sort of how we're expecting those to be used. But again, creators can sort of interpret it, can and will. I mean, we can't tell people how to interpret stuff. People will interpret it in a way that makes sense for them. On our support forum, we do have a document with all of our taxonomy terms and what they mean, like a one-sentence description of them. And that's linked from the page when you're editing your product. You can it links to that page so you can see it easily. It's just a one-sentence description. And again, one sentence can then be open to more interpretation. So, it's very much up to how the creators interpret stuff. So, but the idea of all of those is really just to make it a way so we can have standardized labels for things. Because there's one thing where you can add custom tags to a product. That's what I've said to people before is that custom tags are where good discoverability goes to die. Like tags mean nothing to the people, to anyone else. You write a tag, it means nothing. Like on Itch, I've got stuff there that's tagged with mouse because it's for Mousetratter, but it's got digital products there as well. And mouse means something very different on a computer than it does in tabletop. So it's got the tag is actually redundant, for example. But if you have a standardized taxonomy that all the products are using, then it makes finding related things significantly easier and more practical. So you can look at a product and find related products based on the matching tags and that kind of thing. We've got a built-in system for all of that. So yeah,
love it.
That's how we're looking at it to be used.
I'll pick up from the chat. We've got a question from our friends over at Stillfleet Studio that's kind of connected to that. Is like they have the grit system. They're doing the grit jam over on Itch right now. They're creating more in that. We're seeing a lot of other creators pick that up. As a system becomes more popular, is there a good way for it to get on your radar for adding that in, or other tags that people have ideas for? What's the best way for them to submit that?
The best way is there's a feature requests category on our support forum, which you can just post on there. As anyone who has asked has discovered, we're very happy to add new game systems. I'll have a quick look at Grit after this and add that. After this the stream, I'll do that. So consider that request officially made. We're very happy as long as a game system has like at least one third-party module that could be tagged with it, we're very happy to have it included. Cool. Like we don't have any sort of restrictions on that. We'd rather cater to more, than not. So yeah, and with other taxonomies, like not the game system stuff, like settings or whatever, or genre or tone or whatever else it is, we're very happy to add stuff to that too. If people suggest something and explain why, we're very happy to add to that. There's been a couple that we have added based on requests from people. If someone requests something that we feel doesn't really make sense or would be better somewhere else, we'll do that. But we're very happy to take those suggestions and add stuff that work for people, that help people.
We've got a couple great comments in the chat. Retrofit says, my games are nobody reads them friendly, so that's a tag to consider. And then
I'll consider it, yeah.
Signal Station, creator of Moonshot, which is on my front page view of RPG Trader right now, says my custom tag by this -1 is really going to take off. They know it. And so
yeah, that's good. Let's see if that works for them.
Yeah. I do know these pictures I feel like have changed as I've been going through, and they're all clickable. Are they? How are these pictures determined on the top front of the page?
So we're quite transparent about that. We actually have another. There's a page in our support forum which explains how all the sections on the homepage work in terms of popularity and all of that kind of stuff. And the one thing that's a little bit different and is explained in that doc is that section with those 5 games at the top. Those are manually selected by our small team. Basically, very subjective criteria. It's does it have an interesting image? Is the game interesting? Does it have some relatively broad appeal? It's very subjective. So basically, we select games that we think should be listed in that section, and then a random 5 of those show each time. There's no sort of prioritization of that, and then every 30 minutes it changes to a different 5.
Michael, I made the list. ? Exclamation point ? Sweet.
I see he said "sweet as," which is a very Kiwi thing. So I don't know if you're from New Zealand, but that's cool.
They're in California. Maybe I don't know if Michael has any Kiwi in them or not. Great question by Odds and Ends. I think is a good place for us to end out the conversation. You and I talked about it a little bit beforehand, but user base, right? Like there's been a great movement of creators onto the platform, a lot of great early adoption, and in our indie RPGs, a lot of the creators are the consumers also too, but we always know there's that bigger conversation around like what is helpful on a fan base. I also want to provide some real clear context, like people like even looking at itch numbers, right? Like there are some people who do a lot of there are tons of people who have built their entire businesses on drive-through RPGs model and who make a lot of money there every month. Same thing for itch. But to get into the top selling physical games like category on itch, to know if your game is selling well, if you sell 5 copies of a game in a couple of days, like it moves up. It doesn't require a huge amount of purchases or engagement. And there's some other things that trigger that algorithm's popularity also too, that can push you up even without purchases. So on a lot of other platforms, it's hard to really know, even looking person to person, product to product, without looking at your back end compared to somebody else's, what any of that information means, right? So like I want to be very clear that for most other sites, it's largely obfuscated information that there's no way to know. But like, tell us a little bit about the consumer base, like what y'all are seeing on the platform. It's brand new. It's a month in. So when people are like, I've only sold 3 things on there, I'm like, I mean, that's 3 things you wouldn't have sold. Also, like,
exactly
3 things on itch is a lot for most people, and even on drive-through RPG too. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So one thing you mentioned, the sort of when things show up on the sort of popular list or whatever, that kind of thing. Like I said, there's actually a doc in our support forum which explains how we calculate popularity. You can have a look at that. I won't go into all the algorithm stuff, but we are quite transparent about that. It's not sort of a secret algorithm as such. It's basically based on recommendations you have, which is a system we have in place of stars and reviews, by the way, which has been very positively received.
That's great.
Recommendations, views, purchases, all of that kind of thing factors into it, especially recent, like in the last 30 days of all those actions. Which means that popular list sort of, instead of having like 1 or 2 games always at the top of the popular list, because it's based on sort of stuff from the last 30 days, it's a bit more sort of rolling and changing. But in terms of getting users on board, like you said, creators are also buyers. That's just the case for a lot of this, which is great. We're looking at more and more publicity stuff. As I'm sure you've experienced as well, it's very, very difficult, that kind of thing. Advertising, getting the word out is really tough. So we're sort of, one thing we wanted to do is get a lot of creators on before we launched, which we managed to do and have had hundreds more since, which has been fantastic. and then creators obviously then market to their audience, and it's sort of an organic growth from there. So there's a lot of that going on, which is really, really great to see. So we're working on that. We've been looking into sort of paid adverts on like popular RPG streams and that kind of thing, which maybe we'll do at some point, but we're not there yet. Just because we're focusing on just building a good platform at the moment. So yeah, user-based growth is very much currently sort of via our creators. Blue Sky is our main sort of outlet for engaging with people, just because, like I said, we're a small team. Engaging on multiple social media platforms is difficult at best of times. So we, engaging on one is sort of where we're at the moment, and just sort of moving towards a larger user base as we grow. And like I said, we're also very happy to look for some sort of gradual growth rather than it being massively rapid. I feel like this month has grown very quickly. It's been a very quick growth this month, which is awesome, and we're very grateful for the support and we love it. But we're also happy for if growth slows down for a bit and then picks up later, and that's all good too. So, that's sort of where we're at the moment.
Awesome. Do you have any public data on like not necessarily cash numbers, but like purchases on the platform, other things like that, numbers that you can share that people can find?
Yeah, sure. If you go to our About page, you'll see the number of members, number of creators, and number of products. That's there, and that's live data. So that's just that number. If you rpgtrader.com/about, that's or linked in the header. That's what that is. In terms of like sales figures, obviously we're not going to talk about money specifically, but in terms of number of orders, there's been over 7,000 orders placed on the site in the month. But a lot of those are free ones, so that's not all paid orders. And then out of that, about just over 1,100 have been paid orders. Okay. And one order can contain multiple line items. So it's not like Itch where you buy one product each time you buy something. It's more like you add stuff to your cart and you buy it all at once.
Man, a basic cart functionality. Imagine.
Yeah. Which drive-through has that as well. It's very normal for e-commerce. So that's it. It's just So in 1 month, like you said, today was our 1 month anniversary. Actually, the time the stream started was exactly the time last month on the 9th. It's the 9th of July here, by the way, in Australia. I know it's not for you guys. Was to the minute was the time that we launched. So it's when we started the stream, it was exactly a month from when we launched, which was quite cool.
Love it.
No,
I think that's great. I mean, like, obviously, this will not necessarily be a dependable trend, right? But that means like almost everyone who is the number of orders and the number of members is pretty close to 1-to-1 right now, right? Like the 1/7 of those ish being paid is great. Like there's so much stuff that people want to put out there just to get it into people's hands, whether something is sold or free. Part of that depends on how people choose to list that product. Y'all did the big free RPG Day bundle also too, which was a huge hit for people.
Yeah.
And I think those kind of things are absolutely great to see happen, right? Like and to see like that kind of early movement on a site. I think any of us, if we were sitting here thinking, I launched a project and 7,000 people came and visited and interacted with it, like we would all view that as a huge success. No matter, I'm sure. People in Seattle may not feel that way, but for most,
I'm very happy with that. Yeah.
7,000 people coming through in the first month and engaging in some way, meaningful way, shape, or form is huge. Even being able to see like the member number versus creator numbers, right? Like that about 1/10 of the people on the platform are creators, and about 9/10 are people who are here looking, shopping, following things. Some of them may be creators also, or may become creators in the future. Like we don't know, but that's those things are great, just easy numbers to pull. And again, one of the things that like keeps on coming up is just this information is on the site. Like this information is things y'all are intentionally making transparent and public.
Yeah.
And that is a choice y'all have made that you didn't have to make and other people don't. That type of industry transparency really does help people have a better sense of things. I think a lot of times we're not used to it. We're used to information being hidden and hard to find. And it leads to a lot of like, can I just speculate on this thing on the internet versus like, you can also just go look it up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I come from my sort of development history has been very much in the open source space and building open source products and that kind of thing. So I'm very much a fan of open source in general, and the transparency that comes with that. So yeah, that all makes sense to me, and we're very happy to be transparent. Yeah. Maybe in the future we'll maybe not make those numbers as public. Just I don't know. You know what I mean? There might be some business reason in the future not to, but for now we're very happy to keep things public and transparent where we can.
No, I mean, like I said, I think it's always easy to come back and say, hey, here's a reason why we have to make an adjustment or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
But those
Yeah,
three core numbers already tell us a whole lot more than we know about
yeah,
most other sites or
yeah.
people who are doing similar work. So like,
And there's also, just as an interesting fact, so the 695 creators, that's 695 people who have signed up as a creator and published at least one product. There's about twice that number who have signed up as a creator but haven't yet published anything. They have stuff in drafts or whatever. So, if all those people publish their stuff, that number would double.
yeah.
So it's there's a lot of that as well. So there's a lot of other numbers going on in the background too.
Cool. If folks have more questions, we'll come back to them at the end. But let's talk about some other things that are happening in the indie RPG space right now. Let's talk with the one that we've already mentioned a little bit and is near and dear to your heart. Let's talk about the Kiwi RPG Week, which is happening right now.
Yeah, it's happening this week. So Kiwi RPG is the New Zealand RPG community. It's a very active, vibrant community of people who build and create tabletop role-playing games. There's some fantastic content coming out of New Zealand. For a small country, it's got a lot of great stuff happening. And I'm a member of the community, like I said, because I lived there for a while. And they do as a community, we do an annual Kiwi RPG week. If you go to kiwirpg.com, they've got stuff on there. And this week, there's a bunch of live streams happening for actual plays, workshops, like just talking about RPGs, some panel things, that kind of thing. The schedule's listed on the site there. And also some bundles. There's a bundle on Itch and on Drive-Thru and on RPG Trader, all with different products in them. So you could buy all three and you wouldn't duplicate the same products. And you can get those this week. They're available till, I think, Monday or so. I can't remember the dates. But I mean, those have been organized by me. I'm just part of the community. I have some stuff in those bundles, but they're organized by other community members. So yeah, that's happening this week. It's a great time to sort of just celebrate a local RPG community that's doing some awesome stuff that you might not have seen before. So
yeah. I love it. There are tons of amazing like independent creators in New Zealand. There is a chance that per capita there may be more amazing RPG creators in New Zealand than there are almost anywhere else in the world. It's a part of the global South that I think oftentimes gets overlooked when we talk about indie RPGs. Malaysia and the Philippines and a lot of RPGC gets a lot of attention, but there are just so many great folks that we've interfaced with and interacted with who are in New Zealand, and it's such a great community of creators. Signal
really
Station also went and dropped the links for all of those bundles in chat. Thank you so much, Michael.
And like I said, there's different products in all of those. So if you buy all of them, you won't be buying the same thing on multiple platforms. We made when they were put together, the creators made a point to only submit different ones to each.
That's great.
Duplicate.
That level of consideration is so huge also too. But again, great community of creators. Would really encourage people to get out there and support this. This is something that wasn't even on my radar, so I was super glad that you brought it up, because it again, like I said, is a company that does not always. That's the dryer in my basement.
It sounds like a razor coming on.
It's gonna go off again in a second, so I'm gonna go walk the 10 steps to stop the actual dryer before hands. But are there any other projects while I do that you, or parts of the project that you want to shout out while I do that? This is me asking you to vamp for a second.
Oh no, I've got to banter on my own. I mean, Kiwi RPG Week is great. There's some really cool panels happening, some live streams. I would encourage you to check it out at kiwirpg.com and go through there. Also, if you go there's a link to the library, kiwirpg.com/library, and that's just like a whole bunch of games and products, tabletop products from people in the Kiwi RPG community. So very, very cool. Some awesome people there, very supportive. It's a great community to be a part of. And some cool stuff coming out of there.
Yeah. Love it. Let's talk about a small thing that some people will have heard of. Man, did I not even open that one up? It's the ENnie Awards have been announced. Yeah, it was a sweet dryer sound effect. Lots of people really struggled to get those on their streams. But we only bring out the best here at Plus One EXP. But ENnie Awards just got announced. We are both nominated. We are both nominated for the same product, like we mentioned at the top of the show. Tomb of a Thousand Doors did get an ENnie, but I want to talk a little bit about them. Are there things that stood out to you? Chat, if you have things that you're excited about, whether you got a nomination, got an award, or have one that you want us to talk about a little bit, feel free to toss that out. But were there things besides Tomb of a Thousand Doors that you were excited to see on that list, or that just jumped out at you that you hadn't heard about before?
Yeah, I always love seeing the judges spotlights. There's some cool stuff in there. So I mean, I know RPG Zine Club is a thing from you guys that's on there, which is just
Yeah.
so cool to see. Um, Tomb of a Thousand Doors, obviously exciting. It's always, because I'm very involved in the Mouse Ritter community, it's always exciting to see Mouse Ritter content represented here. That's always a cool thing, and especially such an incredible product as that. And I was just to be clear, I wrote like essentially a D20 table and a bit of extra stuff around it for like this massive book. So, very small contribution to what is an incredible thing.
And that's what put it over the top.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that table, that was it. There's something that stood out to me that I really liked. There's a game that I've enjoyed a lot. It's called The Librarian's Apprentice. There's a sort of follow up to that called Song of the Scriptworm, by the same author, which is on there as for best. I think it's for best solo adventure.
Yeah, which was a whole new
game,
category this year.
Which is again, I was very excited that category is even there. I think that's exciting. That one stood out to me just because I think it's awesome. Camp Snallygaster by Pandion Games, I think is cool, just because I really like anything Pandion does.
Pandion does such great work.
And the name Camp Snallygaster just sounds awesome. And then I was looking through, I mean, as always with these things, there's a lot of stuff I hadn't heard of in here. But some stuff I really enjoyed, like, I don't know how they pronounce it, but Mappa Mundi.
Yeah.
Mappa Mundi from Three Sail Studios. That's actually on RPG Trader as well, which is cool. It's
cool.
It's a very cool product. There's some beautiful art, absolutely beautiful artwork in there. It's on for best art in multiple categories. And it's an absolutely beautiful game. And I just love looking at it. Aside from playing it, just looking at it, it's awesome.
Oh, Kimmy is in the chat right now. So, I mean, so many great things on there. I already got shouted out in the chat. It does feel, one of the cool things this year, as opposed to other past years, and I think this just goes more towards, in part, people being considerate about it, but like, we had a lot of products that won or are nominated that are huge collaborative endeavors. I feel like more than any other year in the past, we see a ton, like, Tomb of a Thousand Doors nominated. Here's a bunch of people who contributed to it, right? Zine Club, even though we don't have everybody listed, that's 25 like RPGs, 25 creative teams, over 60 different people, not including all of our staff who works on making that product happen. Sprigs and Kindling is a huge anthology collection of work that comes out of the wider Gauntlet community for the games that come out of that Amanda and that crew did such tremendous work on. Like, to me, the big standout this year felt like, hey, like, a lot of time people have called these like content grinders in the past, and I'm like, I think that you can approach them that way if you want to be a little jaded about them, but the amount of work that goes into saying, hey, let's look at this as a big collaborative project, and then how do we bring that down into a single thing that has a clear voice to it, I think is one of the biggest challenges, but I think we've seen it be really clearly represented this year in the Ennies itself.
Yeah, I think so. I love seeing those projects that have so many people involved. And there's so many things you can do to tie those together really well. I mean, I'll talk about Tomb of a Thousand Doors purely because this is one I'm most familiar with. But when Matt built that, he got Fernando Salvatierra to do the maps for it, which also is nominated for Best Cartography because his maps are just incredible.
Yeah.
And because all the maps are drawn by him with the same style, it creates this real sense of just a sort of unified book. As you go through every page, every room is written by a different person, but it still feels like one cohesive thing as you go through it, which is so cool, and it just makes it such a great product.
Well, and like the afterward, and I think this is where, like, a lot of times, and it's been talked about for the Ennies before, one of the interesting things is there is no like best editor category, and it's hard because the people who have brought it up to me, because I think it's a great question, but the people who have brought it up to me is like, but how would you judge that? Because that's such an invisible part of work to me. Now, I think for editors, they can look at other editors' work and be like, or other books that have been edited and be like, I see choices here that I think might be editorial. I think for the
Yeah.
average person that may not be the
It's
case.
difficult. Yeah.
But like there are some elements in there that like I know for Tomb of a Thousand Doors, after everything was written and created and everything else like that, there were I believe 8 editors who went back through, maybe only 4 editors plus Matt, who went back through and created these like more master storylines that moved through each of the different pieces of content, added it in and gave it a more cohesive voice so
Yeah.
that it
Well,
felt
there was
unified.
a so there was a group of us and that actually got together to do the editing there. I was on that editing
There we
team
go.
there as well. So
I
I think
just
it
I
was
just made a
yeah.
D20 table and
Well,
then
I mean, yeah.
edited it. So,
Well, there was a team of I think there was like 8 of us, 6 of us, something like that. In the
I
team
knew it
that
was
it is.
somewhere between 4 and 8. I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember exactly. We have a Discord group of it. I could go and look, but it's yeah. So we sort of went back through it and just sort of we got everything in this like a massive Google Doc and went through it bit by bit to make sure it all feels more cohesive.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, that editing work is tough to sort of pick out as a sort of as a ordinary person, you know.
Yeah.
It's tough to like see like where was this edited. You know. So yeah, that'll be a very difficult category to have
And
and
it feels like a
reliably
race to the
judge.
bottom. I can tell when things are badly edited. So am I am I just ranking things from worst to this seems well edited at the end of the day? And it's very challenging, I think, to do that. But it
Yeah.
is also hard because it creates and I think this is the case for a lot of things. Like we've jokingly talked about putting our pack out for Stone Top in a submission for the Innies next year, just because of the amount of public positive comments we've gotten about it, like people
Yeah.
posting pictures of the intense box pack out or doing like unboxings and cutting through. Like people have been enjoying
Yeah.
that part of it, which is just funny. But there are so many invisible parts of what happens within the industry. Editing is a huge part of that, and
It's
such
huge,
an
yeah.
and it's hard because people will bring us stuff for Zine Club or other things lots of times, and it's not edited, and we really have to push back. Or it has editing, but the editing isn't sufficient to get the game where it needs to go. And those are hard conversations to have, and it is such an essential part of the process. Odds and Ends shouts out the awards, not giving categories, just stating this is the award started by our good friend Joe DeSimone, but run by Nico now. That is really does a great job of saying like, here are 20 standout titles. We're not going to tell you why, just that they were important. Or not. We're not going to tell you why. We're not going to give them categories. We are going to tell you why we, as the judges, thought they were important, and it's just a bespoke statement for each one, and that's a really cool thing, also too.
That is cool. Yeah.
You should submit your mock-ups to the Innies. They're a free digital resource, Emily. Like, absolutely. I mean, I think it is helpful, kind of the weirder we get on that. Like, and this was kind of the thing with Zine Club. We could submit an anthology of games. There's no good way to submit Zine Club. There's no good way to take something like RPG Trader and be like, we're submitting this because it's a cool new thing in RPGs that we think would love for you to look at and consider. There are big parts of the industry that we have to think about how we acknowledge, give honor to, have conversations around. And unfortunately, there's one award show that kind of dominates how we do that misses a whole lot of those different elements, right? So
it's tough. I mean, you can't with an award show like that. It's very awards sort of group like that. It's difficult to sort of cater to what everyone would like to see. You know, it's like with anything.
Yeah.
So,
we may do a deeper Innie walkthrough later on this month. We may not, because I may not have time, but I would like to get on and talk through with an audience and probably a co-host. A lot of them. I also want to shout out Tacklebox as one of my favorite games that came out last year by Possible World Games. Also got a judge's spotlight. It was great to see the Mapamundi stuff on there. Not as a negative ding, but it was also like sometimes there's just a lot of parts of the industry that are represented in the awards that I'm like, as somebody who's very plugged in, I'm not super involved in the Cthulhu mythos side of that. And there's so much of it at the Innies typically. And there are a couple of them peppered through, and no hate to any of them. It's just a part of the industry that I'm not engaged in. But also I know if they get nominated in a section, everybody else is probably fighting for second place within that one, which is also always really interesting. I'll shout out Tragedy Azaz Theater from Moncal from Centaur Games is a partner of ours. Really excited to see that make it on there. Was really excited to see a number of our publishing partners get attention. A Land Once Magic by Viditya Valetti is tremendous, and we just got more in stock. because we are constantly selling out of it. Not a partner of ours, Thieves of the Tome. It's absolutely gorgeous. Girlframe did a huge amount for a ton of people. It was great to see Legend of the Mist get picked up. I'm a
Also a
huge
beautiful
fan.
game.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of City of Mist, and it has a great play community that supports it, but it's never really hit that big awareness.
Yeah.
And I do feel like Legends of the Mist is finally getting people to pay attention to the system, and I think it's just the fantasy handholds that dominate things.
Yeah.
Sickest Witch walked away with 3 nominations.
I saw
Justin
that,
is
yeah.
a tremendous member of the RPG community. I mean, like we could probably go through and name everybody on
There's
here.
There's two I'd like to shout out as well,
Yeah.
just in the best online content category. One is Explorer's Design, which is just such a great blog and newsletter on Clayton Notistein. He was actually a judge on last year's Ennies.
Yeah, feels convenient.
So
just because I love your stuff and thinks it's excellent, this obviously stinks.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's incredible product. His design work is amazing, but also
tremendous.
just his content, how he writes about design is great. And I absolutely love that. So that was cool. And the other one on there is Soto RPG List.
Yeah,
it's actually run by someone in the Kiwi RPG community.
It is, yeah. Kiwi. We're big fans of Sarah and the work that they do. It's been really cool to see, and it's really funny because like I think we listed 2 games on there when it launched, and then have not kept up, and we have like over 20 solo RPGs that we published.
They would love to take more submissions there. So you know, feel free to. It's basically a library of solo RPGs essentially.
Yeah,
is what
it's such a good resource, and they also do take duet games, if I recall correctly, and other small player count games as well, and so. But yeah, House of Dreams says huge shout out to Girlfriend and Legend of the Mist. It does feel like the spiritual successor of Fate game design wise. I think it's taking a lot of what Fate did with tags, moving into that kind of PBTA play style a little bit more and doing some really distinctive stuff with it. And I'm again, like we did an interview with Amit on a number of things here and did an actual play of City of Mist. It's just been really great to see again that game taking off for that studio. So yeah, I'm excited about the Ennies this year for us. Obviously, you know, winning something already is great. I said it beforehand. I love not having to wait a month to find out if we won an Ennie. Judges Spotlight is probably my favorite way to get an Ennie. I'll be super thrilled to see, you know, what happens with Tomb and all of our partners and just who gets, like, everybody who has made it to that point should feel celebrated. Also, people who didn't like make it. We have tons of amazing things we submitted that I am heartfelt passionate about and think are tremendous products that didn't get selected for anything.
Yeah,
that's a part of it. It's one of the reasons I love that the awards exist, that Indie Groundbreakers exists, that all the other things out there exist. And remember, like, people discovering your game and playing your game, like, that's the height of things. Like, that is what is exciting. Like, I love that Tomb of a Thousand Doors might win some awards. I'm much more excited when somebody tells me about their weird mouse adventures in the Tomb of a Thousand Doors.
Yeah, totally.
You know,
I love that. I mean, when I first started publishing stuff, like, just the first time someone firstly downloaded a free thing of mine, and then the first time someone paid for something of mine, I was like, this is amazing. I love this. This is the best thing ever. And then seeing people post like a play report of them playing one of my things, it's just like, that just feels fantastic, and I love that. I mean, awards are great too. Don't get me wrong, you know, that's cool. But those sort of that direct feedback from people using your stuff is always so exciting.
Yeah.
So.
I also want to take a moment. We have publicly, but for us, the award for Zine Club, like, we really want to shout out Wes, who was our Zine fiend during that time, still a member of our staff. Like, the curation that goes into Zine Club, the amount of project management. It's 25 products releasing in a year that are all fully self-contained games. Some of those come in very done. Some of them come in very raw. They all have to be selected. I'm going through the selection process for 2027, and I am 6 weeks behind on finalizing that list. I'm not 6 weeks behind, but I'm at least 4 weeks behind on finalizing that list. It's close if you're waiting to hear from me. And our crowdfunding lineup for next year. Like, we publish a lot of games compared to any other studio out there, except for maybe Exalted Funeral. And it's a lot of work, and we're super excited about it. But Wes did so much amazing work on Zine Club over the last couple of years. I want to make sure they get a public shout out for that. Also, our entire team will be, most of our team, all of our leadership will be at Gen Con, including Wes, which we're super excited to see each other in person, because while many of us live in Philadelphia or the Mid-Atlantic, a lot of us are spread across the globe. So only our art director, Johnny, can't make it in from the leadership team. So, but
That's
let's
cool.
talk about Gen Con. It is happening at the end of the month. It is a July
Yeah.
conversation. It will be an August conversation, but it'll have been done. Have you ever been to Gen Con? Have you ever been to,
I
have
have
you ever
not.
stepped foot on the soil? It's the
No, no.
worst. It's the,
The worst. That's good. Good review.
Yeah, while it may be the biggest industry event in the world for tabletop games, Spiel is very high on that list also too. And is probably bigger, but I don't have any sense of comparison. One of the two biggest. I also do as much as I can to not to like I stand in a booth and then I go back to my hotel room and then I will go to a bar or a party for the night and then I will go back to my hotel room and I keep it very because it's so overwhelming. But Gen Con is happening at the end of the month. Do you want to set an RPG Trader goal for once? How many products do you need to sell on RPG Trader to come to Gen Con? Is it a 10,000? Is it 100,000?
I don't know. We'd love to do that. What we'd probably actually start with is going to some of the local cons in Australia because there's some really big ones. There's actually PAX Oz is coming up in October.
PAX Australia, yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. We're not going to that this year because it's just stuff on or whatever. But I'm considering maybe next year doing a booth there or something. There's some other ones as well that happen around the country that are fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gen Con would be awesome to come to. Maybe in the future. We'll see how things go.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the costs would be for that kind of thing. Just flights alone would be a lot.
But yeah,
we'll see.
And
that would be cool.
There's days lost on either side.
Oh yeah, with the time zone differences, you lose a lot of time. Like I said, it's currently 11 a.m. on Thursday for me, which I believe it's nighttime on Wednesday for you. So there's a lot of time you lose in those travels.
It is a cool event. There are tons of people who will tell you different things about what they like or don't like or other things like that about Gen Con. It is an incredible like kind of privilege element to be able to go. Like even though there are a ton of people who get to go there, like over 100,000. There's still far more gamers in the world who are looking for it. It's also an omni convention. There are board games and card games and RPGs and other just general nerd culture elements and events that happen around it. But super excited. Diana Jones Award every year is great to see happen also too, which recognize marginalized voices and emerging voices in game design. Innies happened there, of course, that we've already talked about. It's also like a great chance to just get to see the new releases, new announcements. But my number one thing is like I get to see a lot of my friends in person, especially the ones who are coming in.
Yeah, that's cool.
From out of the country. So like the folks at Soul Muppet, other things like that. But if folks are going to be at Gen Con, we're in booth 449 with us, IPR, Breitbart, and then Breitbart is sharing their space out with Goose Poop, Graphbound, and More Blueberries games. So those will all be in the same section. There are literally there will be over 500 indie RPG designers represented in that booth space between those companies. So it is booth 449 if you're looking for the spot for indie RPGs is the spot to go. So yeah, I had to mention Gen Con, but it's only because it's happening. And so
yeah, we'd love to be there, but it's just financially prohibitive for us at the moment.
Next year. So let's talk a little bit about have you heard about 7-Part Pack, Jed? The whole reason Jellyfish Lines showed up tonight was to hear us talk a little bit about 7-Part Pack.
I have heard of it, but I don't know loads about it. So
awesome. I'm going to talk about it. Also make an exclusive announcement tonight about something happening with 7-Part Pack that people don't know about yet. So 7-Part Pack is an upcoming game by Possum Creek Games and which is an imprint currently of Steve Jackson Games. Currently meaning they didn't used to be. They are now. Jay Dragon has been working on this game for over 4 years. Jay is a good friend of mine. And I've gotten a chance to play 7-Part Pack, so I'll dive in a little bit to that and then some of the things we're talking about. But it is essentially, Hugh, I really don't have a great way to describe this, but I'm going to try since you're only.
Please.
You are all playing as wizards.
Okay.
You are playing as different wizards. So you might be the necromancer who controls the gates of, like, holds back the gates of hell and controls life and death. You might be the sage who has kind of this long-standing kind of historical understanding of magic and dreams and portents. You might be playing as the The Mariner, who controls the oceans and trade and other elements.
Cool.
All of them are different. There's the Sorcerer, there's a Faustian. Each one of these people is playing a grand narrative as they control what is happening in this archipelago of islands and the magic of the world. They each control a part of the pact, which is what the relationship between magic and creation, and it's always corresponds to the things that I kind of just mentioned, and that's kind of the big vision of it. But each one is playing their own mini, like there is a way you cast spells. You're a powerful wizard. Guess what? You know all the spells. There's a spell you want to cast, you know it. If it's minor magic connected to your whatever, like if you're the Mariner and you want to like walk on water, you just walk on water. You're the Mariner. It's fine. Like no big deal.
Yeah.
But there is a list of spells that you all know that are these bigger spells, like creating a labyrinth that can contain things, or casting a portent for the future that will potentially let you know what's going to happen, but also potentially bind the future to your will, right? You can turn into a monster, you can turn into a god. There's all kinds of other things. And you meet once a month to hang out and be wizards together at a thing called the Moot, at a place called the Orrery, this giant like representation of the stars. Anyways,
that sounds awesome so far. I'm loving this.
It's crazy, but every wizard, and so like all those things, you each have, like if you're the Mariner, you can turn certain base components into salt in your spells and use that as an element. Other ones have different things. As the stars and moons travel through the sky, which you can control if you cast the right spells, you move them on this thing in the middle of the board. That determines when you make certain rolls to cast these big spells, how things come out. Every one of you is also playing a mini game in front of you during the rest of the time. So the Faustian the Necromancer literally has a map with the gates of hell that things are trying to break out of, and they are managing those gates and the things that are trying to come out of them. The Warlock is running a dating sim because they are connected to all of the royalty and court and important families. They have their kind of in with, and they're trying to figure out how to bounce those things out for the good of everyone, but based on whatever their own personal whims are. I got to play the Mariner. The Mariner controls trade in the sea, so I've got a map in front of me, and I'm creating trade routes and moving ships around, and storms come in off one side of the map, depending on the time of year, and I'm moving those storms around, and if two of them get together, a bigger storm happens. Weird monsters can get summoned into being. It's insane, and you're all doing this, and then you're like, get together once a month, and you're just hopping with your friends. There's other things that'll come up. Yeah, it is wild, and it is great, and it is so difficult to explain. But yeah, everybody's playing their own mini game, and you're also playing this social macro game. You're setting the stakes for yourself. You're deciding what you want to do. There's different ages: the awakening of magic, the rise of like the magic when magic has been forgotten for a while. What happens? If one of the wizards dies, a new one rises to take their place. It's all wonderful, and I've enjoyed it thoroughly, but it is going to be intense. Jay finally posted a mock-up of the game. Each wizard has their own book. You do ideally want all the books to play it. They've done a good job getting them down to a reasonable side, and then there's all the stuff if you just want to like print things out to play the little mini game, that's great, and it'll come with all the basic elements you need to be able to play any of the mini games. But then each wizard will have their own add-on, like premium gamified version of each of the little extra bit kits. So if you're like, hey, cool, I want them all, great, you can do that. But if you're like, I really care about the Mariner and I like controlling trade, so I'm going to buy the Mariner's extra set, that'll be an add-on option. It's such an overwhelming and intense project.
It sounds crazy.
Poured so much into.
I also just love interesting game design, just like interesting stuff, which is what when stuff comes to RPG trade, it looks interesting. I'm like, I love this. I look through it, and this sounds fantastic. This sounds absolutely fascinating, and like just the sort of level of detail in that game design sounds amazing.
Yeah, the mock-up is on the site now also too. It was not earlier in the day, but they must have updated it. So
I see a mock-up on the Kickstarter.
Dropping that into the stream. Yeah, so this thing in the middle is the Orrery. This is where everything goes around. These are the books on the side. This is the full case set. It's so gorgeous though, and even just playing with the homemade version that Jay had developed over the last couple of years has been really tremendous. But like people have been playing it for a while. It works really well. Here's the sneak peek. If you want to know more about any of that, we have not announced this yet, but on the week of July 20th through that entire week is Wizard Week. So every day here on Plus One EXP, Jay and I will be getting together with 1 to 2 special guests to talk about what that wizard does, how that wizard plays, and what their micro game is for about an hour, hour and a half. So we will be doing a deep dive into 7-Part Pact on the week of July 20th with a whole bunch of special guests from all over too. So we've invited some really cool people. We haven't finalized that lineup, but we've had a ton of yeses that I'm really excited about. And some of them you'll have heard of, and some people are people who've just been playing this game for a couple years with Jay and others, and who have really great insight into it. So if you've wondered if you want to know more about 7-Part Pact, come back for that later. But I expect this game to kind of blow people's minds, and in a different way than like the Dark Sun box. Like, you know, like Dark Sun box is like big, and was it Dark Sun? Is that what I'm thinking of? The black box am I right? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. That
was like $500 a long time ago, which is like $1,000 nowadays. I think it'll be like that for a lot of people, but except for the intricacy of design and interconnectedness and the variability and the board gaminess are pushing things even further. So the other group that I know that really understands this type of play is honestly DCC, Goodman Games. Some of the modules that they put out for DCC have some of the board gamiest, coolest, weirdest micro mechanics for that particular adventure. It's the only thing I think that comes close to touching what 7-Part Pact has been doing. And so Invisible Sun, not Dark Sun. Dark Sun is the different one. Thank you. House of Dreams. And so anyways, do you have any questions about 7-Part Pact? Any thoughts on it?
It looks incredible. It sounds incredibly ambitious from a game design perspective. And I know from having, from designing games, it's difficult to make all those different elements actually work in a balanced way. But it sounds like it's really heading that direction, which sounds fantastic. Yeah. And I see someone said there, I love a board gamey TTRPG in the chat. And yeah, I love it. I love tabletop role playing games, and I love board games, and you can sort of bring those together into one thing. That's awesome. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's really funny. Like we talk about it a lot. Like 5th edition rules as written is actually pretty board gamey. Like it's got a lot of tactical and measuring and the action economy, like rigid resources. Like there is a lot of that in it. That's not how people play it, but that is technically how it's written. It's one of our secret passions to get people to get RPGs that play like board games. We have a party game that's in development that's really smart that we took on because it hits the sweet spot of, oh, you're actually inviting people to do role playing who would never normally say, I want to play a role playing game. It's going to be fast. They're going to understand the mental framing of it really well. Like those games that exist in that space to help bridge that divide where people wouldn't, who don't think they want to play a role playing game because they feel like it's inaccessible, would want to sit down and play. But I think the more we also see board game tech come into RPGs, the more diverse space we get, and the better also too. And so, Roll for Felicity says they like 5e when people play it rules as written because of the board gameness. Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I find most RPG people are happy to play board games also. Keegan's not, but most are. And so I love seeing it come out. Yeah,
so
that's cool.
Awesome. I'm trying to think, was there any other thing? Oh, I want to talk about the GM-less game bundle to round us out tonight, because that's about to launch. We're huge fans of GM-less games at Plus One EXP. We love belonging outside, belonging in other bespoke stuff. Tell us what's going on.
Let me get the latest data on it. So basically, what we did last month was a free RPG Day bundle, and how bundles work on RPG Trader is, or one way you can work if you're managing bundles, is you can create a link that you can just send out, and anyone who clicks that link can join the bundle. You can put certain parameters in place, like it has to have certain taxonomy terms and that kind of thing. So the bundle management is pretty powerful there. So that's by the way, is another feature we're very proud of and worked hard on. So and we did the free RPG Day bundle last month. And what we decided based on the success of that is that we would do these sort of regular themed bundles. We're ideally looking at doing them monthly, maybe more often if it makes sense, but we'll see. And the first one we're doing is for GM-less games. So it's got to be something that's a game or a rule system, and it has the GM-less tag and the playstyle taxonomy, basically. And one of the requirements we've also put is that it can't have been in last month's free RPG Day bundle, so there's always new stuff. That's great.
Yeah.
just so it's more variety for people. And people are currently adding games to it. They've got another sort of, I think, 24 hours to add games, which I feel like maybe we should have cut it a bit shorter because there's already 101 products in it.
Yeah. Retrofit said they missed both bundles because they're busier than they realized, but you did extend the GM-less one deadline.
Yeah. Well, actually, we had it till last week. We actually shortened it to tomorrow. Yeah. Purely because we want the bundles, so the free RPG Day one is free and you can pay what you want, which is great. And all the money goes to the creators involved. What we're going to do with these ones is the base price won't be free, but it will be pay what you want on top of that, of course. And we want it to be like a reasonable revenue for all the creators. So if there's like 300 creators in every bundle, like people aren't going to get too much money, even if people do pay a bit. So we want to sort of make it more worthwhile for creators to be in there. So yeah, we might give like shorter timeframes for adding to the bundle in the future. We'll experiment with different things as we go. But yeah, so the GM-less games bundle, it is currently recruiting. If you are a creator on RPG Trader, you would have got an email with a link to join it. And then the bundle will be available for purchase from the 16th of July to the 22nd of July. That's the plan. So that's Australia dates, I suppose. But so 15th to the 21st.
So one
for
day
Americans.
early. Early.
But it'll be available for purchase of that. We haven't decided what the minimum purchase price will be. It sort of depends how many games in it and what their value is. I mean, currently with the games added to it, the combined value of the games is about $590.
Yeah.
So
$500 is a great deal. Is what I'm.
So we'll put it up for $500 and see what happens. No, it'll be something reasonable. But we'll figure that out once we know exactly how many games in it. And then we're wanting to do this every month. And we've got a sort of list of categories we're probably going to do. We'll probably do solo games at some point. We'll do some maybe art assets, just that instead of games, or I don't know, horror games in October because it's Halloween, or whatever, something like that. We'll do different themed ones each month, or however often we decide to do it. But because we have this bundle system built into RPG Trader that's quite flexible and powerful, we want to sort of make use of that in a way that is really just makes exciting stuff for people to come and buy.
Love it. Awesome. Last chance for questions from everybody else in the chat, but in order to give a little bit of time for that, if folks want to stay up to date on what's happening with RPG Trader, what are the best ways for them to do that?
Our Blue Sky, just at RPG Trader on Blue Sky. That's the best place to go. That's where we're posting stuff the most often. Obviously, joining the site. There's once you sign up on the site and you're logged in your dashboard, there's an activity feed where you can follow creators and you can see stuff that they're posting, and they can also give like custom updates that you can read. I see Signal Station just dropped a Blue Sky link in the chat. Appreciate it. Thank you. So that's the best way to keep up to date with what we're doing is that. We also will send out emails to people who are members from time to time with info. So if you just register on the site, you'll be in that list of people. But yeah, that's the best way to keep up to date with it.
Love it. Really excited to see the way y'all have entered into the space. Have y'all also, just real important last question for me, did y'all decide on your mascot's name yet, or is that still in process?
That's still deciding. So we posted on Blue Sky saying, please suggest names. We had, let me just see exactly how many.
Yeah, a good amount of responses.
I got them all. We had 113 suggestions of names. Some of them were intentional jokes. Like someone said, just call it Dragon. But we were still deciding what we're going to call it. We've narrowed it down to a sort of short list. But yeah, it's just a name, but also we want it to be something good. And yeah, we love the feedback from people just with the suggestions of names. There were so many cool names suggested.
It's such a good word mark. Like, it's more complex than you see, I think, a lot of times nowadays. But it's such a great mascot and logo and word mark. I think that expresses a lot.
Shout out to because I need to mention Penflower Inc., who drew it, who does some incredible work. I've got a Patreon. And they've got a bunch of stuff they sell and some really, really cool assets you can use to create a bunch of RPG stuff. But we did a custom commission for the logo, and we're very, very happy with it. So,
yeah, I was gonna ask if you didn't volunteer, but also no more questions came in, so we are set for the night. This has been great, everybody. We will be back. We do have a couple cool things coming up. Next week we got something going on next week. We've got Now You've Seen It going on next week, where we have two different creators sit down who have read each other's games and do a three-way interview around those two games, diving into each of their resonances, dissonances, and what gives each game its unique voice. It's one of our favorite formats here on Plus One, so come back next Wednesday night for that if you want to. The following week, as we mentioned, it's Wizard Week. We're really excited about it. You'll see some announcements coming by around that over the next couple days as we start hyping it up. But that same week, we will actually have Avery Alder on in the evening, because I'll do a double stream day as we have the next Show Me Your Moves, where we are diving through PBTA design one creator at a time, talking about it as a lens of philosophy for both life and design. We had John Harper on and a bunch of other great guests over the first half of the year. Avery, we're going to be diving in deep this next week also too. So packed week, not next week, 2 weeks out, packed week that week for us. And then we'll be off for the next 2 weeks after that, because again, we are headed to Gen Con. Hope to see folks there if they want to. And really excited to chat. Hugh, so great to have you on. Super glad we can make this happen. Stick around for a couple minutes after so we can chit chat. But
of course.
This has been Intrepid. I'm trying to remember the tagline for this one because it's been 2 months. This has been Intrepid Merchants, and we'll see you down the road. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Cheers.